Well, good morning. We are here with our fourth interview in our series with Kari French. Kari, why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are and how you're connected to the Heights?
Sure. I've lived in the Heights about 33 years, and we love it because it's just so unique and special, and that just drew us there. And I was privileged to be able to work at Travis Elementary, and it was kind of a dream of mine. And God opened the door and just made wonderful friends. Met some really cool families that I'm still friends with, and I love that Zion is an urban church right in the neighborhood because that's what I grew up in. I grew up in Chicago and was in an urban church, and it's a real important part of my faith journey. So.
And Kari, you had mentioned that you see a lot of potential in Zion because of where it is and how it's thinking. Would you say something about that too?
Oh, sure. I think there's something about a city church that you are just truly a part of a neighborhood. And with Zion, particularly, Travis is across the street and the food pantry, and those are all really meaningful ministries and services to the community. And so, and downtown is just literally down the street. And so I think that really affords a unique opportunity, and still in the smallness of and uniqueness of the Heights. It's just a really cool garden, fertile garden.
Lovely. We talked a little bit about spiritual hunger. I wonder if you'll tell us a little bit about what is it that you hunger for spiritually?
I think for myself, I just have to really consider what's essential. And for me, that's how can I be alert and alive to Christ? And it's important to me to continue searching daily in Scripture and having guidance with that through church and fellowship. And just the richness of worship. There's something about hearing the word, praying together, music, all those things are sustaining. And I feel like that's pivotal to my growth and focus as a faith because it's everything. Friends and family, wonderful spouse, it's great, but there's something more to life, and that's total dependence on God. So support for that.
I love that, Kari. I love that you have this sense of a faith that continues to deepen and continues to grow, and that you are open to the ways that God is doing that. That's just lovely. As you think about many children you've seen over the years, their spiritual hunger is what you see them hungry for, and their families, and what you hunger for them. What comes to mind for that?
Um, well, I just thought when I would go to school, I would try to focus on, let the words of my mouth and meditations of my heart be acceptable. And, all the different events that come up throughout a teaching day, and, needs for doing your job to the best of your ability, but also trying to model empathy, and what it means about I care about you. I'm going to require things of you, and I'm going to have limits, and I'm going to have times when I need to guide you, but also just the love of my getting to know kids and just truly wanting to help them grow. And in a school, all under the guise of mentors who are supportive in that. And I really found not to make assumptions. That was a big lesson for me. Do not make assumptions about anything. You use your time to the best of your ability to get to know families, what's important to them, what their needs are, what they're concerned about. And, these are things that don't happen overnight, and it requires risk of putting yourself out there. So,
Sure. And to your point about sort of the importance, what's important to a family, what would you say in your teaching career has changed about what's important to families from when you began to what you saw now? What is important to families?
I think what the biggest thing I've noticed is time. A lot of families for, if both parents or any parents connected to a child are very involved in a career that requires time or travel, that has influence on how we work together for a child's school and impact. And then for parents who are both working long hours and they come home and there's time to eat, and all of a sudden, there are school responsibilities and there's pressure. And gee, I just wanted to spend some time with my child, but, we need to do this too. And, really trying to, as a teacher, learn about these things and communicate and try to be supportive. And, so I think that's the biggest thing, is just, it's our society. There's a lot of pressure on people and kids.
Sure, that's really helpful. I think as we think about families and pressure and the feeling like there is no time, that's an important thing for us to know about contemporary families. So let me ask you our last question. If you could change one or two things about church, what would you change?
Well, I love church. I grew up in the church. My dad was a minister. I just have kind of both sides of church life. And this is kind of picky, but you know what I'm going to be talking about. If I'm coming to a church where I've never been, my fear is I'm going to sit in somebody's spot. And you know it because they give you the skunk eye. And it's like, oh no, I want to leave, and then nothing else enters in. So, I think be flexible, let's be welcoming, sit next to them and say hi, what's your name? And, because church is all about bringing people to Jesus. That's why we're here. And so if that encounter can happen, don't get mad because they're sitting in your seat. Oh, and the other thing, I guess, is, I think we all love when people come and they're willing to get involved, and especially if they're new to a congregation. But if they do demonstrate ability and, a talent for what they're doing, we sometimes, I've observed, have the habit of squishing them. All of a sudden, we want to have them doing many things, and they just get, overrun, and pretty soon they don't want to do anything. And so just mindfulness of spreading the joy, and communicating, if people, you may not know somebody wants to do something and they just need a mentor. They don't want to be in charge, but please show me the ropes. Show me how we do this. Let me find out if it's something that I can do.
Thank you, Kari. Your answers have been so helpful and insightful. We're really grateful for your time. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.